My name is Emma, and I'm a female mechanic at a car repair shop. My phone buzzed, and I received a video from an unknown number. In the video, I saw my fiancé James and Sophia from the front desk together in an old car in the backyard. The sender was signed as the truth. This was the 10th time. I calmly opened the system and whispered, "Reset life." But what I wanted to reset wasn't myself. The countdown to life reset had only 7 days left. The system's alert sounded in my mind. I put away my phone and pushed open the iron gate of the auto repair shop. Sophia was painting her nails at the front desk, and James was leaning against her desk smoking. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but smile slightly. The owner of an auto repair shop and a beautiful front desk clerk were now so intimate in front of me. The old me might have gone straight up to ask for an explanation. But now I feel uneasy. After all, if I hadn't used the system to save him when he was on the brink of death, he might not even be breathing right now. James sees me, immediately extinguishes his cigarette and walks toward me. "Emma, why are you here so early today?" He tries to wrap his arm around me. I step aside to avoid him, noticing the cigarette ash on his fingers, which makes me feel uneasy. In the video, those hands had once been intimate with Sophia. It was getting late, and there was work to be done in the repair shop. I walked around him and headed straight for the backyard. Behind me, Sophia's concerned voice rang out. "Emma, you don't look well lately. Should you go to the hospital?" I didn't respond and pushed open the iron door of the repair shop. The smell of motor oil filled the air, making me feel better. At least here I could focus on my own work. Ding dong, my phone rang again. It was from the person signed as "Truth. Did you see it? Your fiancé and his mistress were in the car together. This has been going on for 3 months. I put down my tools and opened the attached video. The time was yesterday afternoon, and the location was in the old Toyota in the backyard. Sophia was sitting on James's lap, asking him in a playful voice, "James, when are you going to break up with her?" James kissed her neck and replied, "Just wait a little longer. The repair shop needs her help right now." But I couldn't wait any longer. I turned off the video, my fingers trembling slightly. The system's voice sounded at that moment, showing the countdown for life reset. 6 days and 23 hours remaining. HMPH. I smiled faintly. Recalling the car accident back then, it was thanks to the system that I managed to save James, who was on the brink of death. At that time, he was covered in blood and almost stopped breathing. Yet now, he actually wants me to do more work. "Emma," James pushed open the door and asked, "Is the Johnson family's car fixed yet?" I looked up at him. He still looked like the authoritative boss he was. Who would have thought that this man with such a polished exterior would be so close to a new receptionist? "It's starting again." I lowered my head and continued working. He watched for a moment before suddenly mentioning, "I've made a reservation at the Riverside restaurant tonight. How about we go out to dinner together?" I said I couldn't tonight. I already had plans with my best friend. "Is it about your best friend again?" He furrowed his brows. "Last week, you used the same excuse." I put down my tools and looked him straight in the eyes. "Do I not even have the freedom to eat dinner with my friends?" "That's not what I meant," he said, his tone softening. "Lately, I feel like you've been avoiding me." I smiled to myself but acted hurt, saying it was my fault. "I've been working too hard lately and might be feeling some pressure." What a fool. He reached out and touched my head, saying, "If you're tired, don't take on so much work. I'm the boss. How could I let you suffer?" I endured the discomfort and let him touch my head for a moment. As soon as he left, I rushed to the sink to wash my hands. No matter how much I washed, I still felt unclean. During the lunch break, Sophia especially brought me some takeout. She said, "Emma, you've been working too hard lately. I ordered a healthy meal for you." She smiled warmly. I opened the box and found a bowl of seafood congee. "Thank you, but I'm allergic to seafood." I pushed the box back. Sophia paused, then asked, "What? I'm sorry, I didn't know." I said, "It's okay, James knows." I looked at her seriously. After all, we've been together for 3 years. She lowered her head nervously and said, "I'll go get something else." "It's okay." I took out the lunch box I had prepared earlier. Watching her hurry away, I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Such a petty trick. She's not mature enough yet. At 3 in the afternoon, the repair shop was stuffy and uncomfortable. I was fixing a broken car when I suddenly heard voices from the backyard. It was Sophia's voice. asking James, "Are you really going to marry her? Don't worry about it. We'll discuss this later." James' tone was a bit impatient. "But the engagement ceremony is next month. I'll handle it myself." I gripped the wrench tightly. So they were even planning to ruin my engagement ceremony. The system's cold voice rang out again. Life reset countdown. 6 days, 20 hours. I took a deep breath and pulled out my phone to send Emily a message. She was my senior at the technical school and now ran a large auto repair shop. "Emily, about the matter I mentioned earlier, I've made up my mind." She replied quickly, asking if I was sure I wanted to come work for her. The salary and benefits had already been negotiated, and I could start anytime. "Yeah, I'll handle things here first." What did that guy do this time? Should I teach him a lesson? I smiled and said no, I could handle it myself. Putting down my phone, I focused on the engine in front of me. Machines had been my best companions since childhood. They never let me down and never lied. At 7 o'clock in the evening, most of the others had left. I packed up my tools and prepared to leave. "Emma," James came out of the office and said, "Don't leave tonight. We need to talk." I glanced at his office. Sophia was indeed still inside. "What was there to talk about?" I said softly. "You've been acting strangely lately." "We need to talk then." He walked up to me and brought up the engagement ceremony. "Oh, the engagement ceremony." I interrupted him. "Are you trying to postpone it or cancel it?" He paused for a moment and said, "How did you know?" I shrugged. "After all, you've been saying things halfway lately." "It's not what you think then, what is it?" I asked with a cold smile. "Did I misunderstand the relationship between you and Sophia, or did I misunderstand your plans?" James's face suddenly turned pale. "How did you know?" "Know what?" "Do you know what you were doing in that old car in the backyard? Do you think I kept you around just to make you do more work?" I stepped closer to him. "James, do you really think I'm stupid?" He took 2 steps back, bumping into the wall. "Emma, let me explain." I said, "No need to explain." I turned to leave. I planned to resign tomorrow. "Wait," he grabbed my wrist, preventing me from leaving. I pushed him away. "Why can't I leave?" "Afraid no one will help you here." "It's not that he's in a hurry. I truly love you." A loud slap echoed across his face. "James, do you really care about your image?" I looked at him and said, "If it weren't for me, you would have died in that car accident." He covered his face, looking at me in shock, asking what I was talking about. I didn't respond. Pushing open the door and stepping into the night. Behind me, the system's prompt sounded, showing that the life reset countdown had 6 days and 18 hours remaining. Soon, James would understand the consequences of betraying his savior. The next morning, I arrived at the repair shop as usual. James's office was lit up, and I could faintly see 2 figures inside. I smiled coldly and walked straight to the repair shop. "Emma," James rushed out after me, "I'll come find you later to process my resignation," I said without looking back. He seemed anxious and hurriedly said, "No, you can't leave." I turned around to look at him, wanting to hear why he wanted me to stay. James stammered for a while before finally managing to say, "The engagement ceremony is already prepared." "So what?" I asked him back. "Are you worried the ceremony will be canceled and you'll lose face? Or that no one will come to help? I really do love you, but I'll save those words for Sophia." I interrupted him. His expression changed instantly. "What do you know?" I didn't answer. I took out my phone and opened the video. "Do you want to see what you two were doing in that scrap car?" James panicked. "Emma, listen to me. I can explain." "No need to explain." I opened the video. "Watch it yourself." "Is there anything else to explain in the video?" James was hugging Sophia and whispering sweet nothings to her. "James, when are you planning to break up with her?" "Wait a little longer. She's helping out in the workshop right now. We'd be in trouble without her." I turned off the video. "Can I apply for resignation now?" James grabbed my wrist and asked where I got the videos. "Does it matter?" I sneered. "Are you saying the videos are fake?" "It's not that his attitude has softened, Emma. I'm the one who wronged you. Give me another chance." I shook off his hand. "A chance? You deserve it." "I know I was wrong. I won't do it again." Ding dong, my phone vibrated again. It was a new video showing last night's surveillance footage from James's office. I clicked on it and saw him and Sophia engaging in some intimate gestures at the desk. I threw the phone at his face. "Is this what you call realizing your mistake?" James caught the phone, watched the video, and his face turned pale. This isn't. I looked at him coldly and asked, "Is that you or someone else?" He had no words to respond. At that moment, Sophia came out of the office, saw the scene, and tried to leave. I called her back and said that since everyone was here, we should clarify everything. Sophia bit her lip, and Emma said, I'm sorry, I laughed. You've been together behind my back for 3 months, and now you're saying sorry, I said. It's okay, there's no need to say more. I turned to James and went to the office to process my resignation. James seemed like he wanted to say something, but I gave him a stern look, and he didn't say anything else. In the office, he took out the resignation form, and his hands were trembling. Emma, are you really leaving? What do you want? I took the form, filled it out quickly, and stayed only to watch you two show off your love. The situation between Sophia and me isn't what you think. I stopped writing and asked, what exactly is it? Were those in the video special effects? I was just confused for a moment, but that confusion lasted 3 months. I scoffed. You think I'm that gullible? He didn't respond. I continued filling out the form. Oh, and one more thing, better keep those little tricks under wraps. What little tricks? Underpaying workers and embezzling maintenance funds. I looked up at him and asked if I should continue. James's face turned pale. How did you find out? I've worked here for 3 years. How could I not know? I handed him the form. I didn't say anything before because of our relationship. But now, are you threatening me? His voice turned cold. I wouldn't dare. I stood up. I just wanted to remind you to be careful. He suddenly stood up. Don't think I don't know what you've been up to. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, tell me more. Are you talking about the side jobs you've been taking on? I laughed. Are you referring to the clients I referred to Emily? I had already agreed with her on the commission. He was momentarily speechless, then said you used company tools without permission. I interrupted him and asked, those tools were bought with my own money. You want to see the receipts? James felt powerless and slumped back into his chair. Emma, don't leave. His voice was filled with pleading. I really need you, need me. I scoffed. You need my skills, right? No, that's not it. I turned to leave, never to contact him again. Wait, he suddenly called out to me, bringing up that day. You just said that if it weren't for you, I might have died in the car accident. What did you mean by that? I stopped and asked him, what do you think that means? I did nearly have an accident that day, but did the doctor say anything? I turned around and looked at him. Do you really think the doctor saved you? He froze and asked, then what else? I didn't answer, just gave him a look that spoke volumes. The system's voice sounded at the right moment, prompting that Life Reset had 5 days and 20 hours remaining. I opened the door and walked out, seeing Sophia pacing outside. Emma seemed to have something to say. Don't call me sister. I interrupted her. You're not suitable for that title. She bit her lip and said, I really like James. So what? I looked at her. Does liking someone make you a mistress? If that's the case, I don't want to be involved. I waved my hand. You two are perfect for each other. Stay together. Stepping out of the office, I sent Emily a message. Emily, I'm done here. I'll report to you tomorrow. She replied immediately. Great, I'll be waiting for you. By the way, do you want me to teach that unreliable guy a lesson? I smiled and said, no, he'll get what he deserves soon enough. Putting away my phone, I took one last look at the place I'd spent the past 3 years. From apprentice to technician, I'd put in a lot of effort here. Unfortunately, some people just don't know how to appreciate it. Emma, James ran out after me. Are you really leaving? I didn't even look at him. I'll move my tools later, don't go, he said, his voice choked with emotion. Please give me another chance. This is ridiculous. At the accident scene, he had said the same thing to me. He begged me to save him and give him another chance. At the time, I felt sorry for him and granted his request using the system. But now, I left without looking back. Behind me, the system's cold prompt sounded. Life Reset in 5 days and 18 hours. Soon, he'll understand the consequences of betrayal. In the afternoon, I drove the truck back to the repair shop to move the tools. A red Porsche was parked in the yard, and the owner was chatting with James. When he saw me, James immediately came over to greet me. Emma, this is Emily from the Johnson family. I interrupted, walking toward Emily. The tools are all in the repair shop. Emily nodded and then said to James, I heard you have an exceptionally talented female mechanic here. James's expression changed instantly. Yes, But she's already switched jobs and is working here now. Emily sneered. I never thought you'd let such a talented person slip away. At that moment, Sophia came out of the office and saw Emily's car, her eyes lighting up. Emily, would you like a cup of coffee? Emily glanced at her and said, No, thanks. I'm not interested in this kind of gathering. Sophia's expression turned sour. I held back a smile and turned to get the tools. James followed me in. He asked, Emma, are you really going to the Johnson house? What else? I don't even want to look at you two. Stay here and watch you two show off your affection. I wanted to say something, but couldn't bring myself to do it. It seems the true nature of those old customers has been exposed. Worried the customers will follow me. Actually, that's not the case. Don't worry, after I leave, I'll recommend other repair shops to them. I closed the toolbox. As for where I'm going, that's none of your business. He grew impatient. You can't do this. What did I do? I stared at him. Are you asking me to refer customers to someone who lacks basic morality? The phone rang again. The same familiar number. I opened it and saw a photo. James was having a private conversation with a supplier, with a stack of cash on the table. I noticed you made a few suspicious gestures. I handed the phone to him. James saw the photo and his face turned pale. He asked, Where did you get this photo? Is it important? I snatched the phone back and said, Since you did this, don't worry about others taking photos. At that moment, Emily walked in and asked, Emma, are you ready? Emma replied, almost. Emily glanced at James and continued, I heard you're engaged. It's been canceled. I said casually, the deposit doesn't need to be refunded. I interrupted her, saying it was a lesson learned. James quickly said, Emma, about the engagement, we can still what? I laughed coldly. Are you still trying to deceive me? He was speechless for a moment. Emily looked at the repair room and noticed that many of the tools were probably bought by Emma herself. Yes, I nodded. The receipts are all here. Let's take them all away. Emily turned to James and asked if he had any objections. James opened his mouth to say something but shook his head and didn't speak. We were moving things out when Sophia suddenly ran over. Her eyes red. Emma, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. I stopped and thought, you didn't mean to. Then who was the one who initiated it in the video? I left. I waved goodbye, saying, you two are a good match. I wish you happiness. Emily sneered. Someone like you, who meddles in others' relationships, will eventually make someone else unhappy. Sophia's face turned pale, and she turned and ran away. I packed up the last tool and looked around the place I had spent the past 3 years. I remembered when I first started here as an apprentice and gradually grew into the chief technician. Here, I saved James, who was on the brink of death in that car accident. Emma and James were about to say something when the system's voice suddenly rang out. Life reset countdown. 5 days, 12 hours. I looked at him and suddenly said, James, do you remember that car accident? He froze and asked me if the doctor said I was lucky. I sneered and replied, if it weren't for me, you'd be dead. What are you trying to say? You'll find out soon enough. I turned around and got into the car. Let's go, Emily. As the car started, I saw James still standing there in the rearview mirror. He probably never imagined that the person who saved him wasn't a doctor, but my system. He also never imagined that the chance he had to escape death back then would be lost because of his betrayal. Emily drove the car and suddenly asked, should I teach him a lesson? No need. I shook my head. He'll pay for his actions soon enough. What about Sophia? That mistress. I couldn't help but smile. Someone will eventually take action against her. Sure enough, the next day, news came that Sophia's ex-boyfriend had shown up at the repair shop, confronting James and causing a big commotion. I heard that the truth number was Sophia's ex-boyfriend's. I looked at the message on my phone and smiled softly. None of that matters anymore. What matters is that the countdown is still ongoing. There are only 5 days and 8 hours left. I put down my phone and focused on fixing the faulty car in front of me. The work environment at Johnson's was indeed much better than James's place. The equipment was updated, the team was professional, and the salary and benefits were higher. Emma, is the car fixed yet? Emily walked over. Yeah, I just finished the test. You've been working hard. She handed me a bottle of water and said, I heard things are really bad at James's place. Oh, I raised my eyebrows. All the regular customers are asking where you went, saying they trust your skills. Emily smiled and said, he's really losing out now. I didn't respond and continued organizing my tools, still thinking about him. Emily asked with concern. No. I shook my head, thinking to myself, some people really aren't worth our sympathy. Emily patted my shoulder and comforted me. Don't think too much about it. I'll be here for you. I smiled and thanked Emily. When I returned to my place that evening, my phone buzzed again. It was James, asking if we could meet up to talk. I deleted the message immediately. Shortly after, Sophia sent a message to Emma, apologizing, then deleted it. Lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling in a daze. The system's voice sounded again. Life reset countdown, 5 days, 6 hours. The results would be coming soon. They would soon understand the consequences of their betrayal. Early the next morning, Emily rushed over to find me. Emma, something's wrong. She handed me a medical report, saying James had been hospitalized. I glanced at the report and noticed his body temperature was abnormally low. But the cause was unclear. The doctor said they couldn't determine the cause and that he had been feeling cold. Emily asked worriedly, should we go check on him? I put down the report and replied calmly, no need. The system prompted me. Life reset countdown, 4 days, 18 hours. It was finally beginning. His body was slowly returning to its state before I saved him. Ding dong, my phone rang. It was Sophia sending a message. Emma, please help James. He seems off. Another message followed. The doctor said they couldn't find the cause. His body is still very cold, and he's shivering even with 3 sweaters on. Emma, aren't you going to check on him? Emily asked. I shook my head, thinking it wasn't necessary. Just then, James' ex-girlfriend called. Emma, do you know how James is doing lately? I don't know. He looks terrible. She paused, her face turning pale, her lips turning purple, as if he were about to die. I continued. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end. Do you know anything? I don't. Then I hung up. Emily hesitated, and Emma said, Emily, I'll go check on the new Mercedes. I changed the subject. She sighed and didn't say anything else. During the noon break, the hospital sent another message. James's body temperature kept dropping and was now below 35 degrees. The doctor said there was nothing they could do and recommended transferring him to another hospital. I stared at my phone as messages kept coming in, my face expressionless. The countdown to life reset was 4 days and 12 hours. In the afternoon, Sophia came to find me personally. Emma, please go check on James. His eyes are bloodshot. I was focused on wiping the wrench. Isn't he being taken care of by you? But he's been calling your name. I gave a cold laugh. Is that so? Ask him if he thought of me when he was getting intimate with you in the scrapyard. Sophia's face turned pale, and I couldn't take it anymore. I put down my tools. Don't make me say it again. She bit her lip and ran off. Emily walked over and asked, should we go check on him? No. I continued working on the tools. This was all his doing. When I got home from work that night, James's mother called. Emma, can you come to the hospital? I hung up. Then his father called. Emma, James has been looking for you. I hung up again. Finally, the hospital's landline rang. Emma, the patient's condition is critical. I turned off my phone. Lying in bed, I recalled that rainy night 3 years ago. James's car had crashed into a tree by the roadside. He was covered in blood and barely clinging to life. With his last ounce of strength, he begged me to save him. At that moment, I softened my heart and used the system to revive him. Looking back now, I truly believe that was the wrong choice. The next morning, the hospital called with news that James's body temperature had dropped to 33 degrees, and he was in critical condition. I checked the time. The countdown to the restart of his life had 3 days and 20 hours remaining. Emily seemed to have something to say but didn't speak. I went to fix the car and turned toward the workshop. Just as I opened the toolbox, I heard hurried footsteps. Emma, he's James's ex-girlfriend. Are you just going to leave him like this? I looked up, wondering what this had to do with me. He looked terrifying, and she couldn't help but swallow hard, feeling like she was about to freeze to death. I continued fiddling with the tools in my hands. Oh, she stared at me and asked if I knew something. What could I possibly know? The car accident that day was saved by the doctors. It had nothing to do with me. She was about to say something else when Emily walked over. Sorry, this is a work area. Please leave. James's ex-girlfriend clenched her teeth and turned away. Emily looked at me. Emma, you really? I put down the tools. If someone betrays their savior, what punishment should they receive? She paused. You mean? Never mind. I picked up the tools again and asked when the Mercedes would be ready. Emily hesitated, but eventually brought up work. In the afternoon. The hospital sent another message. James was starting to hallucinate, feeling like he was in the snow, shivering with cold. The nurse said he kept calling out, "Emma, save me." I looked at the message, my face expressionless. The countdown to his life was down to 3 days and 16 hours. It was almost over. He would soon feel that same sense of abandonment from being left in the snow. That loneliness, despair, and the biting cold. That night, Sophia came again. This time she knelt at the repair shop door. "Emma, please save James." I put down the parts I was working on. "Do you think he's worth saving?" "I know we made a mistake," she cried, but what?" I asked with a cold smile. "You really love him. Should I have done that?" "No." "Then what was it?" I walked up to her and asked. Sophia was too scared to speak. I told her to leave. Then I turned back to work, not wanting her to distract me. She left crying. Emily came over and asked Emma what was wrong. "Emily, I'm fine." I wiped the oil off my hands. People like that aren't worth pitying. That night, the system alert sounded again. Life Reset had 3 days and 12 hours remaining. I looked out the window at the moonlight and recalled what James had once said. "Emma, I'll always take care of you." In the end, it was all a joke. News came from the hospital that James's body temperature had dropped to 31 degrees. The doctor said it was an unprecedented situation, as if there were a cooling device inside his body. Life Reset. 2 days and 18 hours remaining. I put down my phone and continued to focus on the engine in front of me. Emma handed me a cup of coffee, and James was standing nearby. He said he understood. I took the coffee, feeling almost too weak to hold it. Emily saw how calm I was and was a bit surprised. "You really don't care at all." I set down the coffee and asked her, "Emily, do you believe in karma?" "What do you mean?" "Nothing." I wiped my hands. The new BMW was already fixed. At that moment, James' ex-girlfriend appeared again. Emma, she ran up to me and asked, "What did you do to James?" I raised an eyebrow and asked what I could have done. The doctor said his condition was unusual. She stared at me intently, just like she had during the car accident 3 years ago. I put down my tools. "So what?" So she swallowed hard. "What exactly are you asking me?" I gave her a cold smile. "Are you asking if I practice witchcraft, or if I know something abnormal?" She couldn't say a word. "If you think something's wrong, I can pack up my tools and leave, or call the police." The ex-girlfriend clenched her teeth and said, "You wait." Watching her walk away, Emily said worriedly, "Will she really call the police?" "Let her do whatever she wants," I shrugged. "They won't find anything anyway." In the afternoon, Sophia came again. This time she brought a pile of photos. Emma handed them to me while crying. "Look at James now." I glanced at the photos. James was lying in the hospital bed, looking pale and weak, with his lips turning purple. He was covered in thick blankets and connected to various machines. The doctor told me that if his condition continued like this, Sophia cried, he might not make it through the week. I threw the photos back at her. "So what?" "Please help him." "Why should I help him?" I sneered. "Just because he's your boyfriend?" Sophia froze. "Can you really help him?" I didn't say anything and turned back to my work. Emma suddenly rushed over and grabbed my hand, pleading, "Please tell me. Can you really help him?" I pushed her away and walked off. She suddenly shouted, "Did you do something to him, you heartless woman?" I turned around and slapped her hard. "Heartless?" I sneered. "When you were seducing someone else's fiancé. Didn't you think you had a problem?" Sophia covered her face and dared not speak. "Let's go." I pointed to the door and said, "If I see you again, it won't be so simple." She hurriedly stumbled away. Emily walked over and asked, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." I continued working, finding the whole situation rather amusing. "What are you laughing at?" "Some people always think they are so pitiful." I laughed, but deep down, I knew I was the root of the problem. When I got home that night, the system alert sounded again. The countdown to Life Reset was 2 days and 12 hours. I opened my phone and saw several missed calls. There were calls from James' parents, the hospital, and some numbers I didn't recognize. I deleted them all. Lying in bed, I thought about all the things James and I had been through. He had said he would take care of me for the rest of his life and repay me for everything I had done for him. But this was the result. It was just a joke. Early the next morning, the hospital called to say that James was showing signs of organ failure. The doctor said that if his temperature continued to drop, he might not make it through the weekend. I looked at the calendar. Today was Thursday. There were only 2 days and 6 hours left until the life reset. It would be over soon. He would soon experience the feeling of slowly losing consciousness in the snow. At noon, James's parents came to find me. Emma's mother was crying so hard her eyes were swollen, begging me to go see James. I kept wiping the wrench, thinking, sorry, I'm really busy right now. He's been calling your name. I put down the wrench and told Sophia to go with him. James's mother was taken aback. How did you know? What else could I say? I scoffed. Am I really that stupid, Emma? We all know James made a mistake. What did his father say? But so what? I interrupted him. He's your son. Should he be forgiven? They couldn't say anything. All right, I'm going back. So I turned around and left, continuing my work. Watching their disappointed backs, Emily sighed and said, Emma, you really, I interrupted her, if someone betrayed your life-saving favor. Would you forgive them? She paused, unable to answer. In the afternoon, the hospital had new updates. James started saying some incoherent things, constantly recalling the scene of the car accident. He said, It's so cold, Emma. Save me, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. Give me another chance. The nurse said he was trembling, as if he had been left in a freezing place. I looked at the message, my face expressionless. The countdown to life reset had 2 days and 2 hours left. Time passed quickly. He would soon realize the consequences of his betrayal. That night, I received a text message from an unknown number that read, What did you do to James? We've already reported it to the police. I deleted the message, turned off my phone, and went to sleep. The next day, the police really came. Emma, someone reported you. I interrupted. Reported me for what? Did they say you used witchcraft to harm someone? The police had nothing to say. Without evidence, I'll continue my work. Please don't interfere. They checked the surveillance cameras around the area and questioned several colleagues. But in the end, they found nothing. Emily sighed in relief. That was nerve-wracking. I wiped the wrench. What's there to be afraid of? You should be the one afraid. I interrupted her. It's those people who should be afraid. The system alert sounded again. The life reset countdown had 1 day and 18 hours remaining. At 3 a.m., the hospital called. Emma, the patient's condition is critical. Please come to the hospital immediately. I checked the system notification. The life reset countdown had only 3 hours left. I'll be right there. As I pushed open the door to the intensive care unit, a bone-chilling cold swept over me, sending shivers down my spine. James lay on the hospital bed, his entire body turning blue, looking like a cold, lifeless shell. Emma Sophia rushed over, beaming with joy. You're finally here. I pushed her aside and walked to the bedside. James seemed to notice me and slowly opened his eyes. I'm sorry, he said in a faint voice, as if it took all his strength to speak. I looked down at him and thought, now you know to say you're sorry? I know I was wrong. Do you know you were wrong? I sneered. Do you realize you're about to die? He struggled to lift his hand, trying to touch the corner of my shirt. I took a step back, remembering the car accident 3 years ago. His hand froze in midair. You were like this then, too, begging me to help you. I continued, but do you know what? You were already gone then. The ward was silent. It was the system that saved you. I saw fear in his eyes. And now I began to regret it. You stared at me, asking what I was talking about. The countdown for life reset had 2 hours left. As I turned to leave, he suddenly grabbed my clothes and cried out, Emma, save me. Give me another chance. Those words sounded all too familiar. He had said the same thing 3 years ago. I pushed his hands away. I've already given you a chance. But I didn't want to hear it anymore. I interrupted him, saying this was the consequence of betrayal. As I turned to leave, I heard many voices behind me. Sophia was crying, the doctors were shouting, and the machines were beeping. But I didn't look back. As I walked out of the hospital, the sky began to brighten. The countdown to life had 1 hour left. 1 hour later, James stopped breathing completely. The doctors called it a medical miracle, a human body temperature dropping to 0 degrees. The police investigated for a month but couldn't find a cause and closed the case. As for Sophia, I heard her condition had worsened. She spends her days lingering outside the auto shop, muttering, I'm sorry, I know I was wrong. I packed up my tools and headed to Emily's new shop for work. Before leaving, I took one last look at the place I'd called home for 3 years. Once, I had saved a man who was on the brink of death here. And here, I had ended his life with my own hands. Emily was waiting for me in the car. What was she thinking? Nothing special. I got into the car and started driving. The car began to move, heading toward the horizon. In the rearview mirror, the sign of the repair shop gradually grew blurry. Just like those memories I didn't want to recall, they would eventually be forgotten by time.